Hello, I'm Sandy Arnett. Joanna Campbell is on assignment. On this edition of Commuter Connections, a look at BaltimoreLink following its initial big launch. We'll be joined by MTA Administrator Kevin Quinn. We'll take a look at cruise ship travel from the Port of Baltimore and new air service from sister agencies MPA, the Port Administration, and MAA, the Maryland Aviation Administration. The KOMEN Race for the Cure is coming up. We've got information on how you can participate. We'll also take a look behind the scenes at our MTA Transit Information Call Center and our YouthWorks student internship program. All on this edition of Commuter Connections. Providing Maryland safe, efficient, reliable transit with world-class customer service is the #1 focus at MTA. With that goal in mind, MTA launched BaltimoreLink 3 months ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. For 3 months, the new BaltimoreLink system has been serving the region quite well. New MTA Administrator Kevin Quinn joins us with an update on BaltimoreLink. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Hi, Sandy.
It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
So for our viewers around the state who may not know, what is BaltimoreLink?
So, BaltimoreLink is our complete redesign of Baltimore's transit system. And it really starts with operating improvements, including changing routes to be more efficient and so they're more reliable, as well as a variety of capital improvements, including changing bus stop signs and things like dedicated lanes. And BaltimoreLink is really about kind of the marriage of those two pieces so that we have a much more efficient and reliable and safe system here in Baltimore.
So the actual launch was June 18th, am I correct?
That's right.
And so how would you say the systems has been performing since that time?
It's been performing really quite well. So, there was some, initially when we launched it, riders, there was some confusion. And so we had folks out there, we had 300 transit ambassadors that were out on the street helping people, giving them, brochures and information and really helping them find their way. And
I remember seeing them with the yellow vests.
Yeah, they were all over
everywhere.
the place, right? So we blanketed the entire city, with folks to help people. And I think that really helped. And so, we're at a point now where, in a way, the dust has kind of settled. We're seeing our call center volumes have significantly decreased. Our complaints have significantly decreased. And we're seeing our on-time performance, which is really our metric of reliability, has gone up by about 10%. Okay. And so for a system to see a nearly 10% increase in reliability over just a couple of months is pretty astounding. I don't know any other transit system in America that's seeing that kind of improvement.
And it's been some time since there's been a change to the system in the Baltimore area, is that correct?
Yeah, things hadn't changed in 50, 60 years. And so BaltimoreLink really was about taking a look at a very broken system that didn't connect, that wasn't really aligned well. The bus system wasn't aligned well with the light rail and the metro systems. We had buses that it was almost as though we were purposely sending them downtown to get stuck in congestion. We had bus stop signs that just had a number on it that didn't even say that it was an MTA service. And so, BaltimoreLink was about bringing all those pieces together and really trying to take a comprehensive approach at fixing the system here in Baltimore.
So how would you say public reaction has been to the new BaltimoreLink system?
It's gone well. We've, we had some initial pushback and some confusion, but again, as we've gotten the word out, as we've worked with the public, as we've made adjustments, and something I'm especially proud of is the adjustments that we made really quite quickly. We heard immediately about some early morning service that we needed to provide. We heard very quickly about routes that needed to change to make a left here or right there. And, our operators were fantastic. They adjusted quickly. We adjusted quickly. We had a couple bus stop signs that needed to be changed. And so we really, acted quickly on those as well. And so, all that combined, again, here we are a few months later. And, I think folks have really started to understand the system much better, to realize that what they thought was going to take them several trips, they can now do in just 1 or 2 transfers. And so, we're also seeing and getting some great feedback from folks that now have one-seat rides that didn't have one-seat rides before, and that's really promising to see.
That's huge for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you mentioned the bus operators, so they did have some input into the new system.
Yeah, the whole planning process really involved bus operators from the very beginning, and really making sure that they felt a part of this planning process. And even after we've launched, just in the past few months, we've been doing bus operator ride-alongs where we take operators with staff and we've gone out and we've driven every single bus route in this system and gone and taken a look at every bus stop sign, every turn, and made a ton of notes on what needs to change. And it could be a number on a sign, or it could just be cutting some leaves back where a tree has overgrown. And so incorporating our bus operators into that process has been really important to getting their buy-in and really showing that, you know, they are a really important piece because they know this system really better than anyone else.
And they're the face. They're out there dealing with the public. So.
That's right. They are the face of this system, and they you know, are dedicated to this and want to see it work as we all do.
So tell us, what's the next step for BaltimoreLink?
Well, we've got a lot of exciting pieces still left to do. So, you know, we're finishing up 6 miles of dedicated lanes in the downtown. You know, we're at about 4 miles complete at this point, but we still have more to go, and that'll be a fantastic addition to helping our buses get through downtown congestion. We're also going to be expanding our transit signal priority, where we install sensors on the top of buses and install sensors on traffic signals so our buses can communicate with signals. We're going to be deploying that even further out throughout the city so buses are communicating with even more intersections. We're going to continue to make bus stop improvements, and you know, something else that's really important is folks need to know, you know, we do make schedule changes 3 times a year. So we do have a fall service change, we have a winter service change, and a summer service change. And so those are really important times where we get critical public input, and we're able to make those service changes to make those adjustments to make service better for our customers.
And I was going to ask you, with all the changes with the next phase, did you need a lot of public input for that?
Yeah, well, a lot of the public input came following the launch of BaltimoreLink, which, you know, did include that early morning service, some afternoon service, some gaps that were identified, and so the public input was really key to making those fall service adjustments.
And it sounds like you've been listening from the time you planned this through the launch, and even after you're taking into consideration how people feel about it and what changes they think will make it even better.
Yeah, certainly. You know, listening and incorporating public feedback, I think, has been a real hallmark of this project. And we've dedicated quite a number of staff and quite a bit of resources to getting print materials out there, you know, communication, press releases, commercials, radio spots, community meetings. I mean, you name it, and we've done it. And our goal really is to have as much public input as possible.
So if someone needs more information on BaltimoreLink, where can they go?
Best place is our website, mta.maryland.gov. You can also go to www.baltimorelink.com. Also a great resource for information. Great place to learn how to plan your trip, see how routes changed, if for those that haven't experienced it yet, and also a great place to give us feedback.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been helpful. And I'm sure that, you know, you'll continue to have much success on the BaltimoreLink system.
Sure. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you. Now, just ahead, a look behind the scenes at the MDOT MTA Transit Call Center. That's next. Stay with us. Getting essential BaltimoreLink information out to customers was certainly an important part of making things come together for the big system launch in June. It was a major initiative that could not have happened without the help of our Transit Information Call Center. Perhaps you've relied on assistance from this important service along the way. Today, we take you behind the scenes there for a look at this operation and some of the skilled professionals who help transit customers each day.
My name is Taria Burwell. I'm the manager of the Transit Information Contact Center here at the MTA. The exciting part about running this place is we get to help over 250,000 riders a day and get everybody home to work and back and forth safely. Of course, as you know, customer service is the main component of the MTA. We're people movers, and we have to address people's issues. We take on concerns, complaints, and just day-to-day inquiries, and we all have to approach them professionally, intelligently, and be helpful. They have to know the city, the ins and outs of the city, and they have to know the points of interest, the modes of transportation. You pretty much have to live, and you pretty much have to have grown up in this area to jump right in and begin to work proficiently right away. We do give extensive training, but nothing beats the inherent knowledge that you get being a Baltimorean. On average, we handle about 1,500 calls a day. But we have a telephone component called an IVR, and it's an interactive voice recognition system that handles the other 3,500 calls. So the customer can call in, and you know how the phone tells you push 1 for this or 2 for that. They can have the option of being self-serviced, or they can have the option of having one of my expert information agents help them plan their travel. All told, for 1 year, we take about 1.5 million calls, but our agents personally handle 450,000 calls. It was all hands on deck when BaltimoreLink launched. The BaltimoreLink launched on Sunday. We're normally not open on weekends at all. On that Sunday, we took 9,800 calls. And then that Monday, the first actual day of work day of BaltimoreLink, we took 17,000. I can compare the successes of transit information contact center during the BaltimoreLink launch to when, if you remember when Apple launched the iPhone, the customers were calling in to activate the phone, and on Christmas Day, the phone lines crashed, and they weren't available again until the next morning. Ours didn't do that. We were able to handle 17,000 customers directly, and our systems didn't crash, and we worked at a 68% service level, which I think is excellent. The best part about this whole thing is how we can help people get to and from and move them about day to day.
Coming up next, our sister agency, MDOT-MPA, the Port Administration, with information on convenient cruise ship travel from the Port of Baltimore. Stay with us.
A moment in transit.
As summer winds down and school starts up, one group of young people has a special experience to look back on. The YouthWorks organization and MDOT-MTA partnered to bring 16 high school students into the organization to give them a first-hand look at life in the world of transit.
This is a great opportunity to bring in some good young people to get to know the agency, and a fantastic partnership. You know, we always look for ways to partner with our communities.
We placed them in different departments, so finance, IT, engineering, because we wanted to place them based off of their interests. So the program, the main goal of the program is to be is mentorship. So we're teaching them about professional skills, so coming to work on time, being a team player.
The Baltimore Streetcar Museum played host to interns and staff as they celebrated their graduation from the program.
Well, the Baltimore Streetcar Museum has been here for about 50 years. We have an absolutely fabulous collection of antique streetcars that ran in the city of Baltimore. We have been hosting the MTA interns for several years. We enjoy having them come and see the museum, riding the cars. We get to talk to them a little bit about what they've been doing. So it's a great experience for us.
Once on board, the students reflected on their experience this summer.
For the 5 weeks of YouthWorks, I worked in the payroll department. We had to deal with checks and direct deposits and like child support. I learned that when you work into a department like payroll, you have to work together no matter what. Because if one person messes up, the whole department messes up. So that's good team leadership skills.
Overall, it was a pretty good experience for me because I got to do professional work for something I want to do in the future.
Administrator Kevin Quinn made sure the interns were on the right track as he took a vintage streetcar for a spin.
Oh, that's fantastic. Is that great? Yeah.
Nice and cool. You feel the wind in your face, and reminds you of what it used to be like in the city when they had 150 of these going up and down the streets and taking everybody to work every day. This was amazing and a lot of fun driving this thing, and I could see myself doing this for another 50 years.
After enjoying a cookout on the grounds, the participants were awarded their certificates and given a memento of their experience.
We are building bridges here in Baltimore. The students have an opportunity to get with some of the best companies throughout Baltimore City and learn basic job skills. Learn how to come to work on time, learn what it is to dress for success while being at work.
If this year's group is any indication, the future of the MTA looks to be in good hands.
A moment in transit.
The Baltimore-Washington region offers so much. We've got the beaches and ocean to the east, the mountains to the west, our nation's capital to the south, and here in central Maryland, Baltimore, we have convenient cruise ship travel to a number of exotic destination points. Cindy Berman, General Manager of Cruise Maryland at our sister agency, MDOT-MPA, the Port Administration, joins us with a look at exciting cruises from the Port of Baltimore. Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So tell us a little bit about the MDOT Maryland Port Administration and its mission.
So our mission is to increase waterborne cargo over the piers of Baltimore, and that includes our public and private terminals. And we oversee the 6 public terminals, and we work very closely with the private terminals.
Okay. And how long has the Port of Baltimore existed?
Since 1706. Very long time.
Very long time. And how would you say the Port of Baltimore ranks in comparison with other ports around the country?
So we rank 9th for value and 14 for tonnage.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Out of about 361 ports.
Oh, so that's great. That's a great ranking.
It's a great ranking.
And I know that you now can cruise out of Baltimore, which I know a number of people love.
Love it.
So how long have cruise ships actually been departing and arriving here in Baltimore?
Over 40 years.
Has it been that long?
Over 40 years. They started at the Dundalk Marine Terminal.
Yes. Okay, great. And how has the cruise business grown over the years?
So originally when we started, it was seasonal business. Mm-hmm. Now we are year-round. We have a dedicated cruise terminal, and that opened in 2006. And we started year-round cruising in 2009.
And roughly how many cruise lines actually use the Port of Baltimore?
So we have 2 home ports. Home ports is where the cruise starts, where the passengers board the ship. We have 2 of those, 2 of the top Carnival Cruise Lines and Royal Caribbean.
And how many people would you say you transport during the course of the year?
During the course of the year, over 250,000.
Oh, wow, quite a few. I know a number of people love cruising.
They love it.
I know they love it, and I'm sure it's so much more convenient to be able to do it here versus having to go to Florida or some other places.
Exactly. We're right off of 95. We have secure parking on terminal. We have our building right next to the ship.
Oh, okay.
So it's very convenient for passengers.
You do. You make it very, very convenient.
Very convenient. We tell people, I'm sorry, we tell people that when you load your luggage in your car at your house, you don't touch it again until you get to your room on the ship.
Oh.
Our porters take the luggage right out of the car, and then it's transported onto the ship.
Oh, so very
So they get to their
convenient.
room. When they get to their room, then there's their luggage.
So vacation starts.
Vacation
you're relaxed,
starts.
You're ready.
We want the vacation to start as soon as you hit the terminal. So we
And it
want to
sounds
make it
like it
convenient.
does.
Yeah, so you
It
can,
sounds like it
start
does.
your excitement.
Now that sounds awesome. And what are some of the key destination points?
So that's great. We have the Caribbean. We have the Eastern, Western, and Southern Caribbean destinations. We have Bahamas, and we have Bermuda. And Royal Caribbean also offers Canada, New England cruises for the fall foliage, and people love that as well.
That's great. So you said that these are all year round now, or are some of these seasonal as well?
Well, no, the ships Carnival and Royal are year round.
Okay.
Year round cruising out of Baltimore.
Can you speak to the convenience of cruising from Baltimore? Just say for those who may want to take advantage of actually catching a cruise ship here.
Well, it's very convenient. In addition to what I mentioned earlier, we have the train station that's not very far. We have the airports, so people can fly in. And then when you drive up, the key thing about driving, passengers want to be able to park without having to walk a long distance or park a long way away from the terminal. So for us, you're right on 95. You get right onto the parking facility and right into the building. Inside, we thought about the passengers, the comfort of the passengers. So we have a breezeway, which is a covered area for the passengers to move from the ship to the building. Before, it used to be exposed to the weather, but now it's closed. And then we have a temperature-controlled boarding bridge. So from the time they're in the building, all the way through to the ship, it's all temperature controlled.
Sounds like you all thought of everything.
We try to. We try to.
So just real quick, tell me, what does the cruise ship business mean to Baltimore and just to the state's economy?
We have about a 90 million economic impact to the state of Maryland.
It's huge.
440 jobs, of which 200 are direct. And, it's growing. So that's where we are, and it continues to grow.
That sounds wonderful. Now, for someone who wants more information on the Port of Baltimore, cruising out of the Port of Baltimore, where can they go for more information?
So they can go to our website, which is www.cruisemaryland.com.
So Cindy, thanks so much again for joining us on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sandy, and I look forward to you cruising out of Baltimore and all your viewers doing the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From cruise ship travel to air travel, our other sister agency, M.MAA, the Maryland Aviation Administration, recently launched new air service, and Commuter Connections was present for the exciting launch of Contour air flights between Baltimore and Macon, Georgia. Our Joanna Campbell was at BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport for this special occasion.
I'm with MDOT Maryland Aviation Administration Director of Air Services, Tony Stork. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Tony, new opportunities from BWI Thurgood Marshall, this great airport. What are we launching today?
So today, Contour Airlines is launching twice daily service between BWI and Macon, Georgia. Monday through Friday, they'll be operating in the mornings and in the late afternoons. On Saturdays, they'll have a flight in the morning, and on Sundays, they'll have a flight in the afternoons.
Can you give me a little bit of history and background about Contour Air?
Yes, Contour Airlines is a carrier that's based in New Smyrna, outside of Nashville, Tennessee. They specialize in smaller markets, and this will be their first jet service. They have been flying smaller Jetstream 31s, which are propeller aircraft, but the BWI Macon service will be operated by regional jets.
Why did the city of Macon, Georgia select BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport?
Well, Macon has a lot of business to the Washington-Baltimore region, and they did a lot of analysis, and we provided some assistance as well. They were trying to pick between Dulles and BWI, and we provided a lot of information to them that talked about the benefits of using BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, and they decided that we were the best fit for them.
What does a new service like this mean for travelers in the region?
New service is always great for the passengers in the region, new opportunities, new destinations to travel to.
How many people are expected to use the new service?
The aircraft will have 30 seats, so we're looking at about 60 passengers a day, 60 seats a day in each direction. And Contour is very bullish about the market, as is Macon, and they're expecting really high load factors.
What will the average round trip cost from Macon, Georgia to BWI?
So they have some internet special fares that start about $49. When I checked this morning, there were a lot of fares that were still available at $69, and those are one-way fares.
What does adding a new service do for the image of BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport?
It's always great for the airport to have additional service, additional opportunities for passengers in the region, additional choices.
And why is travel from BWI Marshall a smart choice over other airports in the Baltimore-Washington region?
I think the biggest thing is just ease of access to the airport. So we've got great transportation access, whether it's driving personal vehicles with Interstate 95, Route 295, Interstate 97. So we have our Interstate 195 that comes right to the front door of the airport. And then we've got great ground transportation options as well with MDOT MTA's light rail service to downtown Baltimore, MDOT MTA's service with MARC to downtown Baltimore and downtown Washington. And then of course we have the Amtrak service that runs to downtown Washington and continues north to Baltimore and Philadelphia and beyond. And then of course the easy come, easy go of the airport, both transportation we were talking about, the fares that we have out of BWI Marshall Airport with carriers like Southwest, Spirit, Alaska, JetBlue, just to name a couple.
How many people fly to or from BWI Thurgood Marshall in an average year?
In calendar year 2016, we had about 25 million passengers. In calendar year 2017, we're looking at around 26 million passengers, so we continue to grow.
Is there any other exciting news coming to BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport?
We've had a lot of new service that started over the past year. So we've had Condor increase their service to Frankfurt from 3 to 4 weekly frequencies during the summer months, and next summer they're going to do the same thing. We've had new service to the West Coast with Alaska going to San Diego and Portland, Oregon seasonally. And Virgin America, which is now owned by Alaska Airlines, they're going to be starting San Francisco service from BWI Marshall Airport in October.
If viewers want more information about Contour Air and BWI Thurgood Marshall, where can they find it?
The best place would be the BWI Airport website, so bwiairport.com. We've recently redone it. It's a great website, great information for passengers and travelers.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Just ahead, a look at the upcoming annual KOMEN Race for the Cure. Stay with us. MDOT-MTA partners with the KOMEN Race for the Cure each year in the fight against breast cancer. This year is no different. The big event is in October, and KOMEN's signature events manager, Kate Poole, joins us with information on how you can participate in the race. Welcome to Commuter Connections.
Thanks for having me.
So when is the KOMEN Race for the Cure this year?
The Race for the Cure is on Sunday, October 15th.
And where is it taking place? I hear you have a new location this year.
Yeah, we've decided to move the race back to Baltimore City, where it first began in 1993. The race will be at McHenry Row, and the race route will be going down Fort Avenue, around the seawall at Fort McHenry, and back at Whetstone Way at McHenry Row.
So how long has this race existed? It's been a while, hasn't it?
The race this year will be the 25th annual.
Oh, wow. So it has been quite a while. And how did it come to be? What got the KOMEN Race for the Cure started?
The race started in 1993 at Rash Field. It's been in Hunt Valley for the past 10 years, and we've decided to bring it back to the city to shine a light on the high level of late-stage breast cancer diagnoses and mortality rates.
So where does Baltimore rank?
We rank 6th in the nation for breast cancer deaths.
Oh, wow. So that's pretty high. So how does the race help with the fight against breast cancer?
Sure. This year alone, over 5,200 people in Maryland will be diagnosed with breast cancer. So this help shines a light on that, and participants can raise money on top of their registration fees to help bring in those additional funds that help fund our mission.
Now, how many people participated in the race last year?
We had over 8,000 people participate at the race in Hunt Valley.
Oh, okay. And did you raise quite a bit of money?
We did. We raised over $1 million.
Well, that's great. And how many people are expected to participate this year?
We're looking to do about the same. We're expecting about 8,000 people to come to McHenry Row, and we're looking to get to that $1 million level again.
Oh, okay. So what's the best way for participants to get to the race this year?
The MTA has generously donated 2,000 wristbands for free access to the light rail. The light rail will be dropping them off at the Convention Center stop, and the Charm City Circulator will be picking them up and taking them directly to McHenry Row. We also have discounted parking garages all over the city where participants can reserve their spot via Park Mobile, and then take the water taxi from the Pier 5 stop to the Anthem House stop, which is a 7-minute walk to McHenry Row.
So there are quite a few options for getting to the race, which is great. And if people want more information, if they want to participate in the KOMEN Race for the Cure this year, where can they go?
They can go to our website, komenmd.org, or they can visit the Race for the Cure website, which is raceforthecure.org/Baltimore. We have all of our parking information, registration, everything they need to know will be there.
Okay, and give us the date and the time again?
It's Sunday, October 15th. The Race Village will open at 7 a.m. and the race will start at 9 a.m.
Okay, well, good luck with everything. I wish you all the best this year.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
That brings us to the end of another Commuter Connections program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.